Today I fucked up by telling my sign language teacher I wanted to eat her out in front of the class. So before I begin, I must mention this happened about 10 years ago, but I've repressed the memory out of embarrassment until now. My school offered American Sign Language as an optional language course. You're required to take one to graduate, and I figured there would be less written homework since we're learning a language with our hands. Well, the funny thing about ASL is that it is a very expressive and interpretive language. A lot of signs are very intuitive and often mimic an action you take in the real world. For example, the sign for baby involves pretending you are rocking a child in your arms. I guess I was feeling ambitious in class on this particular day. We were reviewing signs for food, and my teacher, a middle-aged woman from Newfoundland, asked if anyone remembers the sign for pizza. I thought about it for a moment and decided that because pizza is a triangle shape, obviously the sign for pizza might just be a triangle you pretend to eat. If I had to describe my hand placement, it would be like Tien from Dragon Ball doing the hand thing. So I proudly raised my hand and displayed my brilliance to my sign language teacher, who just stared at me in disbelief. It was then she informed me in front of the whole class that the particular hand formation I had used actually means vagina, and by staring at her while eating said hand motion I had just implied I would like to perform oral sex on her. The class roared with laughter as my face went beet red and I think my soul left my body. As sign language was a commonplace in my high school, people would constantly do that to me in the hallway to mock me afterwards. Honest to God, never lived that one down. Too long didn't read, guessed the sign for a word in American Sign Language completely incorrectly, and instead of saying pizza I ended up looking my teacher dead in the eyes while telling her I'd like to eat her out. Hey, look on the bright side. Plot twist, the teacher actually liked what you said, and when you graduated, you all went out for pizza. Cue the porn music. What are you doing, step teacher? Just ignore the laughter and ask her if that was a yes. So what was the sign for pizza? On the plus side, you can now say that you will never ever forget 2 ASL signs. Today I fucked up by trying to tell my ASL class that I liked blackberries. Obligatory disclaimer that this was not in fact today, but rather nearly 20 years ago. When I was in high school, one of the options for language credits was to take sign language. Spanish was always full and there was only one French class in each level, so I took ASL. The class was also taught by one of my favorite teachers at my high school. Anyway, each week or every other week we were given a list of vocabulary words to learn. We'd watch a video, learn how to sign and use the words, and then at end of the week we used the assigned words along with previous words to share a story or something about ourselves with the class. These weren't very long and were always things like, "It's sunny outside," or "I have 2 dogs." Well, one week, we were given the word berry to learn. I figured, okay, we learned colors and stuff before, I'll share that I like blackberries. Simple enough, right? Well, the day comes to share with the class and it's my turn to go. Everything was going pretty well. And then it happens. I sign what I thought was, "I like blackberries." Wait, what did you just sign? My teacher cuts me off with a very confused grin on his face. Sign it again. "I like blackberries." "Are you trying to say you like blackberries?" I say yeah, and he starts laughing. He signs and says, "This is berry." And this. He signs what I had been signing, is blowjob. I like black blowjobs. I just told my class and my teacher that I liked black BJs. No one ever forgot how to sign blowjob or berry after that, and I still aced that class. Also, I learned the importance of not just sloppily signing your words and thinking it'll do. Edit, for reference, this is berry. And this is what I signed because I was being sloppy. Too long didn't read. Thought I was sharing with my class that I had a fondness for blackberries, but instead I was sharing that I liked black blowjobs. Porque no los dos. Now I'm really curious what the sign for BJ is. I figure it has to be at least remotely similar to the act, right? Question mark. I mean, I can teach you the sign for berry. Made a similar mistake back in high school. Called myself a whore instead saying I am shy. The upside was you became popular. Do people really teach their babies how to sign berry? I understand teaching signs like milk or hungry, but berry seems oddly specific for a preverbal infant. Preverbal is a weird designation for D/F or Ho babies. If signs are their primary form of language acquisition, then the parents need to learn to sign all the words they would reasonably say. I would say berry to a baby. Lol, make sure you don't sign hungry too vigorously either. You'll be telling people how horny you are instead. Had a deaf roommate in college and learned enough sign to have conversations and made this mistake while cooking to see if he was hungry. He just laughed super hard and then explained the difference to me. The joys of learning new languages. In Korean, shoes and fuck are very similar. Always messed that up. Shoes off. Shoes you. Hang on, let me tie my fuck. Today I fucked up by desecrating the former house of George Washington. So this happened a while ago and is one of my favorite stories to tell. I was in Virginia on a family vacation, so we went to spend a day touring Mount Vernon, aka George Washington's estate that he lived on/in during his life. So my family and I toured the entire property, but the actual house has guided tours every hour or so, and it's a single file line that goes through a designated path through the house. We were stopped on the staircase for 5 to 10 minutes being given an oral history of the house when I had a fart slip out. I didn't think much of it because it was silent, but little did I know it would be the grossest thing I've ever smelt. It spread like wildfire through this line of 30 to 40 people, and people were audibly gagging and complaining about the smell. The tour guide sprayed air freshener and it smelled like Febreze for 5 seconds before it immediately smelled like my horrible fart again. Nobody knew it was me, but I basically gassed an entire tour group of people, and the tour guide rushed through the remaining portion of the tour. If anyone reads this that had their tour of George Washington's mansion ruined by my fart, I sincerely apologize. Too long didn't read, let loose the worst fart of my life onto a stationary group of tourists with nowhere to go. I hit third base behind Independence Hall once. Did you also gag so as to not look suspicious? I put my shirt over my nose to make it look like I was grossed out, but I was laughing so hard under my shirt. And worst part is that most people find their own fart smell less offensive than another person's. So it was probably very bad indeed. That's a very funny story. Something similar happened to me when I worked at a church in maintenance department. I was to show the administrator some project we'd been working on. He decided to bring his assistant, and one of the priests decided to tag along. The hallway I was gonna lead them through had a heavy wood door. When I pulled it open, a loud ripping fart made an echo in the hallway and I wanted to absolutely die. But what came next was a foul stench that left a trail behind me that the others were walking in that trail. I kept walking all the way to our destination without turning around to look at them. That was over a decade ago and I still laugh out loud every time I think about it. I loved touring Mount Vernon. Also, it probably smelled a lot worse than your silent stinker 240 years ago.